Good afternoon. Welcome to this last-minute briefing before the first plenary session of November, starting in a few minutes, in fact. Je commence par cet après-midi où le Parlement commémore les 10 ans des dramatiques attentats terroristes du 13 novembre 2015 à Paris. La France commémorera jeudi les 10 ans de ces terribles attentats terroristes perpétrés au Stade de France, à Saint-Denis, sur les terrasses de café à Paris et au Bataclan. La présidente du Parlement assistera à la cérémonie d'hommage aux victimes des attentats jeudi. Au Parlement, les députés reviendront sur cette tragédie lors d'un débat qui se passe directement après l'ouverture de la session, donc à 15 heures. Ça sera un tour, une intervention par groupe politique. Il sera aussi question de l'orientation future de l'Union européenne. Il y a 2 débats importants sur cette question. D'abord, jeudi matin, les députés qui se pencheront ensuite sur les conclusions du sommet européen du 23 octobre. Ça sera un débat, un échange avec la présidente de la Commission, Ursula von der Leyen. La réunion du Conseil européen avait porté, comme vous le savez, sur l'Ukraine, le Moyen-Orient, la défense, la sécurité, compétitivité, migration et logement. And then another important debate on the future orientation of our union as the debate on EU's long-term budget, or MFF. In July, the Commission proposed an EU budget around 2 trillion for the period 2028-2034, representing 1.26% of EU's average gross national income. The Parliament set out its priorities in a resolution adopted last May already. And Parliament are likely to reaffirm these priorities and use the debate to relay their concern. It will be a debate with the Commission President, Ursula von der Leyen, and the Danish Presidency of the Council this afternoon after the Bataclan and the debate on migration. As you know, on Monday, President of the Commission, President of the European Parliament, Roberta Metsola, and Danish Prime Minister, representing the Presidency of the Council, met to take stock of the ongoing negotiations. The role of regional authorities, the common agricultural policy, the budgetary governance, in particular the role of the European Parliament, were discussed. And as President Metsola commented, the recent proposals of the Commission constitute a step forward, and the process is due to continue, notably with our plenary debate this Wednesday afternoon. Already for you to note, there is a press conference scheduled for the end of this afternoon with co-rapporteurs Siegfried Muresan and Carla Tavares around 5:30 or a bit later, but it will depend, of course, on the debate. So stay tuned on our accounts and with our press officer, Esther Zalan, who is available in the room if needed. And moving to the votes now, I want to highlight the vote on due diligence tomorrow. The members will adopt their position on Commission simplification proposal on sustainability reporting and due diligence requirements for companies. It's part of the Omnibus 1 simplification package. And of course, the outcome would form Parliament's position for entering interinstitutional negotiations with the Council and the Commission. Note that the rapporteur, Jürgen Warbon, will hold a press conference tomorrow after the vote at 1:30, so here in the press room. Neil, other topics?
Thank you, Delphine. Yes, firstly on the climate law, 2040 targets. So improving EU competitiveness goes hand in hand with the green transition. And after a vote in the Environment Committee earlier this week, the plenary will now vote on tomorrow, on Thursday, on whether to adopt a 90% emissions reduction target for 2040. This would build towards achieving the climate-neutral EU target by 2050. They will also vote on the Commission's proposal to introduce additional flexibility into how the targets can be met. The aim is to have a clear position to defend at the COP30 climate talks in Brazil taking place over the coming days. The debate with Commissioner Hoekstra and a round of group speakers will take place later today, this evening. Then on the Shein scandal and consumer protection, Parliament will also take a position on the protection of European consumers. Last week, as you know, the French government initiated suspension proceedings against Shein, the Chinese fashion retail platform, following the controversy which was sparked by the sale of prohibited products on the website, including childlike pornography dolls and weapons. MEPs will have the opportunity to speak on this issue during a debate on Wednesday evening, so tonight, with Commissioner Virkkunen on the need to protect European consumers against the illegal activities of certain online sales platforms and to ensure that the Digital Services Act effectively prevents the sale of such illegal products in the EU. The vote on the resolution will take place in Strasbourg during the next part session. Also this afternoon, following yesterday's announcement by the Commission, where it adopted its first annual asylum and migration report, so there will be a debate this afternoon. MEPs will discuss it with Commissioner Brunner and the Minister Bjerre of the Danish Presidency of the Council. MEPs are expected to voice their concerns about and the priorities for migration policy, including how to ensure an effective, fair and humane approach to migration and the importance of cooperation with countries outside the EU. And then on the gender equality strategy, this afternoon MEPs will debate with Commission Vice President Minsatu and a vote tomorrow on their demands for the EU's 2026-2030 gender equality strategy. They are expected to ask the Commission to do more to combat gender-based violence. That should be a crime, in our view, under EU law, and to call for EU equality legislation to be implemented in full and to bridge the gender employment pay and pension gaps.
Je vais continuer avec un autre sujet qui touche directement les députés. Après son adoption en commission des affaires constitutionnelles, les députés voteront demain une proposition visant à permettre aux députés de confier leur droit de vote à des collègues de confiance pendant une grossesse et les mois suivant la naissance de leur enfant. Cette proposition du Parlement vise évidemment à modifier la loi électorale européenne en introduisant une exception à la règle actuelle. La règle actuelle prévoit que tous les votes en plénière doivent être exprimés en personne uniquement. C'est une révision initiée par la présidente du Parlement européen, Roberta Metsola, et je vous invite d'ores et déjà à suivre le point presse de la présidente et du rapporteur, Juan Fernando López Aguilar, qui est annoncé à l'extérieur de l'hémicycle, juste après les votes autour de 12h30. And a last element, because we had some queries, note that the members will also vote to decide whether to use or not an urgent procedure on a simplification proposal regarding deforestation law. So this regulation was adopted in 2023 and is set to apply to large companies at the end of this year and to micro and small companies as of June 2026, as the implementation was postponed by 1 year. The new proposal includes possibility to reduce obligations for micro and small primary operators for low-risk countries and for operators and traders that commercialize the relevant products once they have been placed on the EU market. So if the plenary decides to apply an urgent procedure, the members would vote on the content of the proposal, the content of the file during the next session, so in November 2, so 24 to 27th of November in Strasbourg. Just a final note, so I ask for your attention for the opening at 3, because there's a possibility to see an earlier start tomorrow morning. There's very likely that the members will be proposed to start at 8:30, and an anticipation also of the voting time, so not at 11, but very likely a bit earlier at 10:30. So check out, as always, the final agenda once adopted at the opening, and of course, for the rest, we are available for your questions now. I'll take a question from the room, and then we'll go online, Vincenzo. Yes, Max?
Hi, thank you. 2 questions, Max Gila for Politico. In terms of procedure, is it right that it's too late to file compromise amendments whatsoever? So let's say that for the omnibus, the centrist majority now would want to file amendments to be voted. That's too late, right? Whatever's on the table, it's what there is, and nothing can be added to the voting session, or?
Yes, so oral amendments or compromise amendments can be filed until the moment of the vote. So it was for written amendments, the deadline was last week on the 5th of November at 1, but of course for oral and compromise amendments you have to look at Rule 188 of the Rules of Procedure, so it can be done until the moment of the vote. So at the moment it's still feasible, yes.
Until 10:30 tomorrow?
At least, and before the moment that they vote, yes. So there is still a bit of time, indeed.
I have another second
yes.
question. And that's it. But on the maternity leave, I was wondering why the Parliament hasn't decided to include also paternity leave. Why men cannot have this proxy vote if they become fathers? Thank you.
I think, as it was said, changing the electoral law is not an easy process. It requires a proposal of the Parliament, but also a unanimity in the Council and an implementation in the different member states' law. So the suggestion was to have, as a first step, a rather targeted and limited change to the electoral reform, but the electoral law. But of course, as you know, the Constitutional Affairs Committee and the Parliament have proposed a series of reform to the electoral law that are still in discussion with the Council. So the idea is to move ahead with a targeted one in the first instance, but it does not preclude the Parliament to continue to push its agenda of reform of the electoral law, because there are other elements there, including also possibility of electronic votes, etc. And also, there are also elements that are taken by bureau decisions inside the Parliament that can apply, of course, to all members. It's already the case that all members having paternity, maternity leave or needed to be absent for those reasons can be excused in plenary, and the revision of these internal guidelines or internal provisions that are decided by the Bureau would follow any change to the electoral law to be adapted and more largely encompassing, because there it's only a decision by the Parliament. So for that, it's a second step. I think I will take a second question online, and then Vincenzo, we go to you. Yes?
Hi, my name is Matthijs Schiffers, het Financiële Dagblad. I have also a question about the omnibus vote tomorrow. Will it be a secret vote or will it be open so that we can know who voted in what way? And what is the procedure actually to decide whether it's a secret vote or not? And till what moment in time can this be changed into a secret vote or not? Thank you.
Again, it has to be requested before the vote, so there's no precise timing, and you need to have a group or 1/10 of the members, so you need a quite significant group of members requesting it. And at the moment, I'm not informed that it would be the case for the vote tomorrow. So it's still an evolving voting list that we need to have a look at, because as I said, there can be compromise amendments still tabled. So at the moment, there is no request tabled for secret vote. And now we have a question from Vincenzo online.
Good afternoon, Vincenzo Genovese from Euronews. Thank you very much, Delphine. I would like to ask you about the debate on migration. Do you know when MEPs received the annual report on migration and asylum? Because it was presented yesterday to the press, yesterday late evening. So I wonder if the MEPs had the chance to have it a little bit before to prepare for the discussion, and if they have received also the solidarity pool, which is the document that has been transmitted to the member states but not presented to the press, which is a document basically that this states the share of the relocation and financial compensation to each member states. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I'm not aware of a prior information in committee to the members regarding the asylum and migration report. There's a huge interest, and of course, as you know, they have been analysing it since yesterday afternoon. And on the second question, Jana, can you take the question, please? No, you will revert back directly to Vincenzo? Yes. So we will check with you. We will come back to you on the solidarity pool and whether it was also circulated to the members, Vincenzo. Is there any other question in the room?
Max, again.
Yes, Max.
Sorry, just to clarify what my Finnish colleague asked, because I'm not sure you fully answered. So the secret vote can be requested also until the last minute, like filing compromise amendments, or not?
I will revert back exactly on the timing. But to me, it can be requested also until the moment of the vote. Yes, so it was the case last time. So okay. There's no formal deadline. It has to be in time so that it can be included in the voting list, exactly the same as compromise amendments or oral amendments. Yes, Davide.
Thank you. What David Carretta, Radio Radicale, what will happen if the Parliament will not have a position on the Omnibus 1? Thank you.
It will have a position, whether it's rejected or the fact that there is no position would already be a position of the Parliament. So let's wait for the outcome of the vote tomorrow. There are a series of amendments tabled, a position of the committee, some amendments from some political groups, some other amendments from other political groups. So there will be an outcome, and then on that basis, they can start discussing with the other institutions and see. But an outcome, there's always an outcome at the vote. So let's see if they reject it. And if they reject it, it will be again for a discussion with the Commission and the Council. Okay. Voilà. So, if there are no other questions now, and I will follow bilaterally with Vincenzo, and I will come back also on the next steps for due diligence to Davide, and I invite you to all follow now the opening of the session at 3, and don't forget the press conference later on MFF, and tomorrow the press point on the proxy vote and on the due diligence with the relevant rapporteurs. Thank you.